At the ranch, Nick gushes about his mother's lime green pantsuit before wheedling to drive the Ferrari. Victor, who's been frighteningly quiet, picks this time to ask his wife if it's true she nearly sold Chancellor to Cain Ashby in France. Nikki reminds her husband that Nicholas was being held hostage. Victor's irked about being kept in the dark and reveals his source as Cain Ashby. Nikki says she did it and doesn't regret it. She was irritated, however, that Cain and Amanda had all the paperwork prepared in advance. Victor rants about Nikki letting Cain manipulate her. Nikki says it was her decision, and Victor had damn well better not be angry with her. Moving on, Victor reveals that he's tapped Lily Winters as their person on the inside with Cain. Nikki's skeptical to say the least, and Nick asks the question of the week: how will they fight Cain? Victor declares that they'll convince him they want to join forces with him. He tasks Nick with reaching out and finding common ground. Nikki sniffs. With the man who held him hostage? Victor's sure they can make him forget about Chancellor. Instead, he'll get Jabot. They'll help him take over the cosmetics company. Nikki refuses to be a part of this and accuses the mustache of still being mad at her. Victor warns they'll have a problem if she tries to save Jack Abbott. Nick assures his dad he can count on him. On his Genoa City train, Cain welcomes Lily in with a hearty, "All aboard." Lily mocks him for having the train shipped to Wisconsin, but he assures her he has one on every continent, which isn't excessive at all. Shooting his shot, Cain says he finds trains romantic. It turns out Cain's developed an aversion to flying since he was married to Lily. Getting to the point, Lily wonders what it is he thinks they have left to say. Cain gripes that she doesn't trust him. Lily gawps. Of course she doesn't. They spar about him trying to get back with her, and she accuses him of being there to cause trouble. Cain's response is to offer her a scone. Lily asks if he's spoken to Maddie and Charlie, and Cain suggests talking to them together. Fuming, Lily tells Cain he did this and needs to own the fallout. Cain's undeterred, so Lily offers him a deal. She'll tell the kids with him if he'll tell her what he's doing there. She wants the whole truth this time. At Society, Lauren meets up with Christine, who tells her about Chance's off-screen funeral. Lauren, inanely, says she hopes Nina finds comfort in having her son buried near her in Los Angeles. Chris mentions Jill being there for Nina and how heartbreaking this all is for Dom. As talk inevitably turns to Cain, Lauren warns he's back in town with a vengeance. Lauren assures Christine that she'll be on guard where Cain and his business machinations are concerned, but warns there's more at play: his feelings for Lily. They debate the chances for reconciliation and their history. Christine parlays history with an X into a reveal of her engagement ring. Lauren squeals appropriately. The bug asks her pal to help her find the perfect wedding dress, and Lauren promises they'll get started right away. In the park, Daniel confidently strums a tune on his guitar as his dad creeps up, clapping and gushing. The Romalati gene is alive and well, despite the two not being biologically related. They embrace and discuss Chance's funeral. Moving on to cheerier topics, Danny tells his son that his proposal to Christine was a success. He explains they'll wed in October and asks Daniel to be his best man. Daniel, of course, is honored. Danny quips, "Good, because I don't have a second choice." Talk, inevitably, turns to Tessa, who has become Daniel's teacher/therapist/friend, and has changed the way he looks at the world. Danny thinks it sounds like she means more to him. Daniel's afraid he's starting to have real feelings for Tessa. Danny's not surprised. He's seen the signs. Daniel feels disloyal to Heather, but Danny argues she'd want him to find love again. Daniel reminds his dad that Tessa's married to Mariah, and they have the sweetest little girl. He has to find a way to let it go. Lauren and Christine are already designing a wedding gown when Danny appears with Daniel in Society. Danny's sure whatever Cricket wears will be perfect. Daniel congratulates Christine with a hug, and it's a good thing his mother is nowhere in sight, because he tells her she's the best thing to ever happen to his dad. Chris learns that Daniel's going to be Danny's best man, and reveals she has a daunting favor to ask. She needs Daniel to keep Phyllis as far away from their wedding as possible. They all know she'll try to ruin it. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. On the Wednesday, August 13th, 2025 episode of The Young and the Restless, Nick and Adam confronted Billy. Victor and Victoria talked about his control issues with Claire, and Jack and Cain had a terse meeting. At Victor and Nikki's ranch, Nick met with Adam, who said he had news about Cain. Nick knew he had bought up half the town. He wasn't surprised to learn from Adam that Cain met with Billy. Adam also informed his half-brother that Cain had met with Phyllis. Adam referenced Cain's games in France. Nick pointed out that it wasn't a game as three people, Chance, Damien, and Cain's weird assistant, died, and Nick noted he could have been the fourth. Nick recalled that Phyllis and Billy were captivated by Cain's every word. Nick was surprised that Phyllis could turn her back on everyone, as Phyllis saw what was going on in France. Victor appeared and asked Nick not to be naive. "You and I know that Phyllis would sell her first yearn," Victor quipped. "In fact, she'd sell her whole brood if it meant she gets what she wants." Nick claimed that Phyllis would walk through the fires of hell for her children. Victor quipped that the devil doesn't feel the heat. Nick pointed out that Summer would be affected if Cain took over Djibouti. Adam suggested to Victor that he let his crusade against Kyle go. Victor gave Adam the green light to publish the articles on Cain. Then, Victoria arrived. She asked her brothers to leave so she could discuss something with their father. As Adam and Nick left, Nick said he'd check in on them later. Vicky blasted her father for using Audra to try to break up Kyle and Clare. She recapped Victor and Audra's plan for her to seduce Kyle away from Clare. Vicky noted Kyle wanted nothing to do with that Jezebel. Victor commented on his daughter using a biblical reference. Vicky referred to the times Victor interfered in her love life. Victor shrugged that he only did that to keep Vicky safe, and that was what he was doing now with Clare. Victor asked his daughter if he'd been wrong the times he'd interfered in her love life. Vicky pointed out that he was in that he nearly ruined their relationship. She wanted to cut ties with him. Victor said he loved Vicky. She noted that Clare is not a child. Vicky feared Victor's relationship with Clare would not survive his current actions. Victor maintained that everything he did was out of love. Vicky said Kyle isn't the one who's threatening to break Clary's heart. Victor was. Victoria theorized that maybe Kyle would hurt Clare, but she still begged her father to let this go. She asked him to let Clare find her way, or else he could lose her. The father and daughter embraced. At society, Billy met with Jack, having already ordered empanadas for him. Jack asked Cain to let him make his own choices. Jack added that the lodging and food were first-rate in Nice, but Jack still didn't understand why he invited everyone to his chateau. Cain said the tragic events that occurred changed his plans to meet with everyone there one-on-one. Cain apologized for Carter's actions and added he'd have to carry what happened there with him for the rest of his life. He assured Jack he wasn't a threat to him. "If I thought you were a threat to my physical well-being, I would not be sitting opposite you at a table that was set with cutlery," Jack noted. Jack pressed for specific details on Cain's plan when he grew vague. Cain brought up Abbott Communications. He sensed Jack wasn't up for a deal with Abbott Communications. "You also thought I wanted empanadas. You seem to be keen on reading me," Jack noted. Cain suggested that the past he shared with Billy nearly made them family. "Doesn't it?" "No, it does not," Jack succinctly noted. "Whatever short time you had as Billy's brother was based on a lie." Jack suggested that Cain leave town. Cain said he wasn't interested in winning popularity contests. Jack wondered why Cain then invited everyone to his place. Jack asked Cain what he truly wanted. Why expand an already successful business? Jack suggested to Cain that he enjoy his newfound wealth and stature, and tried to point out that his odds of winning Lily back weren't so great. "My vision is crystal clear," Cain said. Jack said Cain would be wise to keep in mind the scope of power and the range of tenacity of the people he was pitting himself against. Jack thanked Billy for the empanadas, but said that he had lost his appetite. At Chancellor Park, Sally was on the phone setting up a launch party. A preoccupied Billy appeared and greeted her with a kiss. Billy revealed that he told Jack that Cain wanted to use him to take over Djibouti. Sally agreed that that was a good idea. Billy was worried that nothing could stop Cain. Sally asked if Billy was still considering helping Cain steal Jabot. Billy said that his family would see it as a betrayal if he began working with Cain, even though he'd be on the inside. Sally was relieved to hear Billy wouldn't ally himself with Cain. Billy said Jack suggested he spy on Cain. Sally felt it was a bad idea, as Cain's last plan cost 3 people their lives. Billy said he doesn't blame Cain for the deaths in France. He added that his past with Cain was complicated because of Jill. Sally said she was ready now to launch Abbott Communications. She wondered if that was not going to happen, and if this was being fair to her. Billy said he was sorry, and it wasn't fair to her. Sally said she needed more than an apology. She asked him to step aside and let her run Abbott Communications. Billy told Sally she was right. He gave his blessing to Sally. They shared a kiss. At Crimson Lights, Adam shared with Billy his theory that Vicky wanted to talk to Victor about Clare and Kyle. Nick said he'd had a front-row seat watching Victor try to run Vicky's love life. Nick noted that Victor had done that with him and with Adam, too. Adam said Clare shouldn't have to miss out on that. Then Billy entered. He said it was good to see Nick up and around after what happened in Nice. Nick thanked Sally for helping him. Adam wondered why anyone would want to associate with Cain after what happened over there. Billy wondered if the Newmans had hired a private eye to follow him around. Adam said that he should have kept private that he'd met with Cain. Billy quipped that some are better at keeping secrets than others. Adam wondered if Billy was referring to him and Chelsea connecting while they were still involved. Billy said they'd all moved on from Adam's lack of integrity. He wondered why Adam cared that he met with Billy. Nick jumped in and asked if Billy was working with Cain. Billy wondered why either Adam or Nick would think he would share with them what he was doing. Meanwhile, Jack returned home, angry. Jack told Diane that Cain wasn't going anywhere and was preparing for battle with everyone. Jack said his meeting with Cain was polite, but noted Cain had lots of confidence. Jack said Cain wanted Jack's share of Abbott Communications. He tried to convince him to leave town, but his advice to do so fell on deaf ears. Diane theorized that Billy pretending to be Cain's ally could benefit them. Jack was concerned about putting Jabot's future in Billy's hands. Diane noted that Billy would be unreliable. Diane suggested they trust Billy and worry about Cain. Jack guessed it was Lai's rejection that was hurting Cain, but doubted that Cain rounding up all the companies into one conglomerate that he would control might win her back. Diane suggested that Cain felt that if he couldn't make Lily love him, then he would make the whole world hate him. Billy told Nick that he wouldn't do anything that would hurt his and Vicky's kids. Nick said that if Billy helped Cain, then he would consider him an enemy. Billy quipped that he thought that he and Nick were pals after he tried to help save his life in Nice. Nick rhetorically asked Billy what he thought would happen. They'd grab coffee and shoot some hoops? Billy said he didn't want a shakedown. He pointed out that Victor wasn't concerned about Billy's kids when he took Chancellor. Billy maintained that Victor didn't care about Chancellor. He only wanted it so Nikki could dress up and play CEO. Nick barked that Billy should not talk about his mom like that. Nick threatened to punch out Billy's teeth. Adam advised his brother that Billy wasn't worth it. "I am worth it, Adam," Billy quipped. He invited Nick to take his best shot. "Adam's right," Nick said. "You're not worth it." Billy called the Newman brothers out on being bullies. After Billy left, Nick thanked Adam for keeping him in check. Audra Charles may be facing some setbacks on The Young and the Restless, but her portrayer, Zuleika Silver, has much to celebrate. The actress recently announced a big milestone in her life and offered up some insights into her assertive alter ego. "Exactly 3 years ago today, I filmed my first Y&R scene. Where does time go?" Zuleika posted on Instagram. "When I look back, I realize how much I've grown from that excited yet nervous woman who walked onto set that day, not knowing exactly what I was getting into. Still, I chose to rise to the occasion and gave it my all," the actress continued. "Still do. I have learned so much along the way and wouldn't trade this experience for anything. So with all that being said, here's a little Y&R dump to share and celebrate this moment with you all. I know Audra has y'all pulling your hair out right now," Silver noted. "But not all is lost, haha. Truth is, I really enjoy playing her and getting to know her more and more with every script. She's so fun, flawed, but still has heart. I appreciate all your support for this bad girl. Happy 3 years to me, salute. Silver's Y&R pals are thrilled to have the actress as part of the Genoa city landscape. It's a dream to have you as a friend on and off screen, shared Courtney Hope, whose character Sally has offered Audra a sympathetic ear, following her defeat in Nice and fallout with Victor. Happy Ani Boo-Boo! Miss you and the gang! Chimed in Brittany Sarpy, who recurs on Y&R as Dr. Elena Dawson. Best addition to the House YR cast in a while, posted at GingyPug. We love Audra. She's good and yet bad too. Such an interesting character played by an amazing actress. Hope you stay in for a very long time. Hashtag Team Audra. Soap Central has shown a spotlight on Charles in recent articles, celebrating her birthday, pointing out her terrific acting in scenes with Michael Mealer, and how we could see her becoming the next Mrs. Newman. We congratulate Silver on her 3rd anniversary as Audra Charles on The Young and the Restless. The Young and the Restless recap for Thursday, August 14th, reveals that 3 wedding dresses will be in the works, while Lily Winters trades twin help for Cain Ashby's Whole Truth. On Cain's train, he'll welcome Lily and hope they can find a way to coexist now that he's living in Genoa City again. Lily will acknowledge that Cain ignored her warning not to come there, and will think he likes stirring up trouble. As for the topic of the twins, and explaining all the Aristotle Dumas drama, Lily will insist Cain is on his own. Cain will admit he was hoping they could tell Maddie Ashby and Charlie Ashby together, but Lily won't want them thinking she condones anything he's done. However, Lily will eventually soften and decide maybe she'd be willing to help if it'd mean that much to Cain. In the end, Lily will offer Cain a deal. I will agree to tell the kids with you if you tell me what you're really doing here, and I want the whole truth this time, Lily will insist. In the park, Daniel Romalotti Jr. will agree to be Danny Romalotti's best man at his October wedding, but he'll decline to play guitar at the event when Danny asks. After Daniel starts gushing over Tessa Porter and how she's helped him see the world differently, he'll admit he's starting to develop real feelings for her. Daniel will think that feels disloyal to Heather Stevens, and even if he were going to find love again, he won't think it can be with Tessa since she wants to make things work with Mariah Copeland. Danny will point out that Daniel's heart would be a bit fractured if that happened, but Daniel won't think it matters. At Society, Christine Blair will talk to Lauren Fenmore Baldwin about Chance Chancellor's off-screen memorial service. The conversation will take a happier turn when Christine shows off her engagement ring and asks for Lauren's help with a bridal gown. Lauren will get updates on the wedding happening in October and will acknowledge this could be a challenge since Christine has strong opinions. That said, Lauren won't think Christine is a bridezilla or anything and will feel confident they can work together to create something fabulous. Lauren will want to work up 3 separate wedding dresses so that Christine has options. Once Daniel and Danny arrive, Daniel will extend his well wishes to Christine. Since Christine will assume Phyllis Summers is going to try and ruin her big day, she'll ask Daniel to keep his mother as far away from the ceremony as possible. At the ranch, Victor Newman will confront Nikki Newman over almost trading Chancellor for Nick Newman's freedom in Nice. Nikki won't be sorry for doing what any parent would do to protect her child, but she'll be unsettled over how Cain anticipated the trade and had everything ready to go. Victor, Nikki, and Nick Newman will mull over just how much Cain planned when it came to his party in Nice. There'll also be some talk about Victor pushing Lily to manipulate Cain for information on his agenda. Nick will wonder how they're going to handle the threat now, so Victor will push Nick to befriend Cain and play up how they want to work with him. Since Nick has ripped into Cain more than once lately, he'll be skeptical about selling this nice act at first. Nevertheless, Nick will ultimately suggest he can be charming and make Cain believe he's on board with this Newman alliance. Victor will want to make Cain forget about Chancellor and help him take over Jabot, so Nikki will object. That'll lead to Victor objecting right back. I don't blame you for risking Chancellor to save one of our children, but not to save Jack Abbott. And if that is going to be a problem, you and I will have a big one, Victor will warn on Thursday's Y&R episode. Nikki will still have doubts about Victor's latest plot, but Nick will confirm that he's in and that he'll do whatever it takes to protect this family. The young and the restless spoilers say alarming news could be brewing thanks to all the deception in GC, so stay tuned. The young and the restless spoilers reveal that while Genoa City has never been short of complicated relationships and dark secrets, a new conspiracy threatens to unravel the very fabric of the Newman dynasty. Behind the usual power struggles lies a deep-seated family connection so shocking that not even the great Victor Newman could have foreseen it. Victor prides himself on controlling every move on the chessboard, and he viewed Audra Charles as a valuable, if ambitious, pawn in his grand designs. However, when her behavior grew increasingly strange, his suspicions led him to a devastating discovery. Following her one day, Victor witnessed the ultimate betrayal, Audra in a clandestine meeting with his sworn enemy, Cain Ashby. The shock of seeing Audra with a man he despises was immense, eroding his trust and making him question her entire purpose within his company. But the true bombshell was yet to come. As Victor watched from the shadows, he heard Audra call Cain by a name that turned his world upside down. "Brother!" This harsh truth left Victor stunned. Audra, the woman he had trusted, was not just collaborating with his enemy. She was his sister. This wasn't merely a personal betrayal. It was a catastrophic blow to the Newman family, revealing a mole deeply embedded within their ranks, working for a man hell-bent on their destruction. This sibling alliance was no accident. Cain and Audra share a complicated past, and upon his return to Genoa City, Cain began masterminding a plot to use his sister's position to overthrow Victor. However, Audra is fiercely ambitious and has no desire to remain a pawn in anyone's game, not even her brother's. She wants to build her own empire, not just serve his thirst for revenge. This has led to a tense confrontation between the siblings as Audra begins to pull away, forcing Cain to fight to keep his key player on the board. Meanwhile, Victor Newman will never forgive this level of deceit. He is already planning his revenge, but he knows the threat is now greater than ever. His enemy is no longer just at the gates. He is inside the castle. As these conspiracies come to light, every character involved will face a painful reckoning. Audra must choose between family loyalty and her own ambition. Cain, driven by his vendetta, will stop at nothing to achieve his goals. And Victor, the patriarch, must confront a challenge that threatens to tear his family apart from the inside. The battle lines have been drawn, and the war for Genoa City is about to become a family affair. Genoa City is buzzing as whispers swirl around Clare's increasingly complicated love life. For months, she had been bending herself to fit inside Kyle's shrinking world, a world where charm had hardened into expectation, and every small compromise chipped away at her spirit. What once felt like love now felt like a performance she was required to perfect. With Kyle, her patience was treated like permission. Every glance, every word was measured. She trimmed her sentences, smoothed her reactions, and ignored the constant tension in her shoulders, pretending it was fatigue rather than a warning sign. The future she'd been promised with him stayed forever out of reach, moving just far enough to keep her chasing. Then came Holden. He didn't burst into her life with grand gestures or flashy declarations. He simply fit. Conversation was effortless. His presence didn't require translation. He asked and waited for her answer. He noticed, but didn't pry. A walk after work felt like oxygen. A late dinner tasted like permission to enjoy something unguarded, something real. At first, Clare didn't label it. Kyle had always treated labels as weapons, using them to judge, to box her in. But the city began to notice what she refused to say aloud. The sightings at the softly lit bistro, the quiet moments at a gallery opening, the drives with the music low enough to hear each other's thoughts. Those evenings recalibrated her week, grounding her instead of making her dizzy. Kyle noticed the shift and misread it as betrayal. Their old routine of grievance, apology, and reset stopped working. He called it a rough patch, treating her boundaries like rumors to be disproven. The night everything changed began without drama. Rain had polished the streets clean. Holden drove her home, a small kindness, but one that meant more than either wanted to admit. He walked her to the door, the kind of gesture born of habit, not performance. Then, from the shadows, Kyle appeared, anger spilling ahead of him like a storm front. He demanded an explanation that would comfort him. Clare gave him a simple one. Friends. The word was generous. Kyle called it a lie and reached for his familiar script. Interrogation, correction, self-pity dressed as love. And when he lifted his hand, it was the gesture more than the foe that exposed the truth. It was the move that expected her to flinch so he could claim he never meant it. Clare didn't flinch. She tipped the glass of water in her hand into his face. Not revenge, a circuit breaker. The street went silent. Holden stepped forward but stopped, leaving the choice in her hands. She made it cleanly. "We're done," she said. Not as a threat, but as a truth finally spoken. Breakups in Genoa City never end with a single moment. They ripple. Clare felt the old habits tug, the urge to text, to apologize, to explain. Each time she stopped, she'd been living in almost for far too long. With Holden, there was no script to replace the old one. No rescue, no performance. Just small, consistent steps forward. Coffee that became brunch, afternoons with 2 books and 1 couch, arguments resolved by change instead of theatrics. They treated jealousy as information, not proof. And they let solitude do its work. Young and the Restless, spoilers for August 18 to 22, 2025. See Billy Abbott is in betrayal mode, and Victor Newman is erupting with rage. As we always do on early edition day, we start with what's coming the rest of this week. Then we're going to dive into what's ahead next week. On Wednesday, August 13th, Nick Newman and Adam Newman talk about Cain Ashby. They discuss aligning with Phyllis Summers and Billy Abbott. Adam says all of them dislike Victor and want Chancellor. Then Victor joins the conversation. He says Phyllis is a shark. Nick defends her, saying she wouldn't hurt Summer Newman, who is part of Jabot, because of Marchetti. Victor blames Kyle Abbott and says that Kyle tricked Summer into bringing Marchetti into Jabot. Nick says that's not how it happened. Victor thinks the Abbotts have brainwashed Nick. Victor rants about Kyle. Adam says this is enough and suggests they focus on Cain. Victor tells Adam to run the Duma Cain story at Newman Media. Victoria Newman comes in and kicks her brothers out so she can talk to Victor. She calls her dad low for using Audra Charles to try and split Clare Grace Newman and Kyle. Victoria says this is just like what Victor kept doing with all her relationships over the years. Victor, of course, is unapologetic. He says he doesn't want Kyle Abbott to break Clare's heart. Victoria says Victor Newman is the one breaking Clare's heart, not Kyle. She says her dad is poisoned by his bad history with the Abbotts. She begs him to stop this vendetta against Kyle before he loses Clare forever. Victor sighs and hugs Victoria. However, he doesn't promise to stop, so we'll see what happens. Jack Abbott meets with Cain. Cain says he's not a threat to Jack Abbott. He feels really bad about what Carter did in France. Jack wants to know Cain's intentions. Cain asks Jack about buying him out of Abbottcom. Cain says it's a good investment. Jack refuses to do any transactions with Cain. He tells Cain to just leave town. Of course, Cain refuses. He says he is going to be working with Billy. Jack says all this plotting won't help Cain win back Lily Abbott. This really ticks Cain off. He snaps that he is not leaving Genoa City. Jack Abbott advises Cain to be careful about all the enemies he's making and ends the conversation. Sally Spectra talks to a stressed-out Billy. Billy is very worried about Cain going after Jabot. Sally warns him that these games he's playing will make the Abbott family see Billy as a betrayer. Billy thinks he can get Chancellor back without using Cain. At the same time, Billy says Jack wants him to work with Cain and basically be a spy. Sally thinks all this is a bad idea. Billy is very annoyed that his mom, Jill Abbott, is on Cain's side. He tells Sally again, "If I get Chancellor back, you can run Abbottcom." Sally isn't impressed by Billy leaving her dangling like that, so he relents. Billy agrees that Sally can go ahead and run Abbottcom from the start. She wants to start out with the Duma Cain reveal, so it's going to be very interesting to see if Abbottcom breaks the story, or Newman Media is first. That will set off a little war between them. Jack tells Diane Jenkins they need to prepare for war with Cain. Jack is very worried. He thinks it's super risky to rely on Billy as a spy, fearing Billy may turn around and betray the family. Jack thinks if Cain can't get Lily to love him, Cain may burn everything down and make everybody hate him. That sounds kind of accurate. Nick goes with Adam to the coffee shop. They talk about why Victoria was there. They know it's about Victor targeting Kyle. Nick and Adam laugh because their dad has interfered in all their relationships. It's sort of a Newman rite of passage. Billy shows up. Adam asks why he's even working with Cain. Billy asks why they care. Nick says a lot of other people think Billy's stupid, but Nick doesn't. He's just wondering why Billy is in with Cain. The three guys bicker. Billy reminds them their dad Victor embarrassed him and snatched Chancellor as a gift for Nikki Newman. He makes it clear he wants it back. Nick gets mad and physically threatens Billy on Young and the Restless. Adam says Billy isn't worth it. Billy says he is worth it because Victor keeps failing to knock him down. Billy calls them bullies. He promises Victor will have nothing left once he's done with their dad. Billy leaves. Nick thanks Adam for talking him down. They have their confirmation that Cain and Billy are working together. Cain calls Lily Abbott to say he's sorry he missed her. He thinks they need to get together and talk. On Thursday, August 14th, Nick is all in on Victor's plot to take down an enemy. Obviously, it's Cain and Billy. Nick is done playing nice after this. Daniel Romalotti confides in his dad, Danny Romalotti, that he's got growing feelings for Tessa Porter. It's shifting from friendship to something more on Young and the Restless. Christine Williams needs a favor from Lauren Fenmore. It's probably wedding-related, maybe maid of honor or a dress or both. On Friday, August 15th, we wrap up the week with Sharon Newman seeing another side to Nick Newman. He's been a lot more volatile and kind of violent lately. Maybe Sharon will find it hot. I certainly do. Aggressive Nick is a very sexy Nick to me. Victoria Newman gets a visit at the tack house from Billy Abbott. I'm sure he's there to warn her he's about to go to war with Victor. Cain makes a vow to Lily Abbott. I wonder if Cain's going to promise Lily she can trust him. They're talking on his train car that just arrived in town. Adam is done being patient when it comes to Chelsea Lawson Newman being loyal to Billy. And Adam is over it after that nasty run-in with Billy, who made it very clear he's conspiring with Cain to come after all of them. Adam is going to push Chelsea to side with the family. Nick and Sharon cross paths with Chelsea and Adam this week at Crimson Lights. The brothers are on the same page. Sharon is probably right there with them. I wonder if Chelsea is going to get on board as well. For the week of August 18th through the 22nd, Christine planning for her and Danny's nuptials. I doubt that Christine and Danny will have a long engagement. They should be getting married here within the next month or two. I hope she's arranging for security because Phyllis may show up and cause trouble. Christine is already anticipating it. Lily moves forward with her plot to con Cain. Victor suggested she stick close to him. That's what she's doing. It's kind of funny that Victor has Lily spying and Jack has Billy spying. I don't think Jack and Victor are going to get what they want out of this. Billy is supposed to be this inside man with Cain, but I do think he's so angry at Victor that he won't be a good spy. Billy's going to be all in, but I think he will try to get Cain to focus on Newman and not Jabot. Tessa and Daniel's bond keeps growing. There are big challenges ahead for Chelsea and Adam, unless Chelsea realizes she has to cut Billy loose. Audra is desperate to hang on to Nate Hastings. Clare is going to tell Nate everything Audra has been up to. Cain is more intent than ever on ruining Victor Newman. Plus, Danny and Christine bask in the joy of their engagement. For the Thursday, August 14th episode of The Young and the Restless, spoiler photos reveal Danny and Christine enjoying their engagement. Meanwhile, Lily meets Cain on his turf. Getting engaged suits Danny and Christine. They're laughing in each other's arms. And they're spending time with family and friends, namely Daniel and Lauren. Daniel and Christine look really close. Hopefully, Phyllis doesn't spy them from afar. After all, Daniel and Phyllis's latest interactions have been a bit rocky. Although Christine and Lauren's conversation looks a bit intense, this sharing of a meal could be about something joyful. Danny and Christine are preparing to get married. Danny probably asks Daniel to be his best man. According to teasers, Cricket asks Lauren for a favor, so maybe she asks her former rival to be her matron of honor. The two have come such a long way over the years. Lily has made it her mission to use her history and her connection with Cain to figure out what his agenda in Genoa City is. And to do that, she visits him at home, which is his newly arrived personal train. Will Lily make any inroads with her ex-husband? He's clearly pining for her, but he's also a smart man. He won't be easily fooled, right? Finally, Nikki and Nick are presumably talking about Victor's latest plan to stop Cain in his tracks. They could also be chatting about how Victor is simultaneously trying to end Cain's reign, to break up Clare and Kyle, and to bring down the Abbotts. There's a lot for this mother and son to discuss. Zuleika Silver has become Y&R's newest leading lady. In 2022, Zuleika Silver made her The Young and the Restless debut as Audra. Since then, Audra has become an important character involved in many storylines. As Silver celebrates a special anniversary, she's reflecting on her journey. With Y&R, Audra was first introduced as Noah's ex-girlfriend. The ambitious businesswoman came to Genoa City to win back her ex. However, her plans failed, and Noah left town with his new girlfriend, Allie. Audra extended her stay in Genoa City and soon became a key player in the business wars. She worked with top companies and captured the attention of many men. Whether she's a vixen or a heroine, Audra has fans talking, and they can't get enough of her drama. It's hard to believe it's been 3 years since Silver's debut as Audra. In honor of the special occasion, the actress posted a sentimental tribute on Instagram. Exactly 3 years ago today, I filmed my first Y&R scene. Where does time go? When I look back, I realize how much I've grown from that excited yet nervous woman who walked onto set that day. Not knowing exactly what I was getting into, Silver captioned a series of behind-the-scenes photos and videos. The actress went on to explain how she rose to the occasion and is still learning along the way. She also expressed the same sentiments fans have when it comes to Audra. I know Audra has y'all pulling your hair out right now, but not all is lost, haha. Truth is, I really enjoy playing her and getting to know her more and more with every script. She's so fun, flawed, but still has heart. I appreciate all your support for this bad girl. Will wedding bells be ringing for one of these Genoa City couples? Love is in the air on The Young and the Restless. With reunions and new romances forming, there are many couples going strong. Some pairs, such as Danny and Christine, are ready to take the next step. But they might not be the only Genoa City couple ready to tie the knot. Young lovebirds Kyle and Clare have endured many challenges in their relationship. The number one is Victor's attempts to break them up. The mustache's latest scheme of using Audra to split the couple up didn't work. Kyle and Clare are still together and determined to make their relationship work. Now that Clare is becoming her own woman, she's taking control of her life. One life-changing decision she might make: marrying Kyle. Although they've only been together a short time, Clare will feel it's ready to take the plunge. An Abbott and Newman wedding would be the biggest event in Genoa City. But it wouldn't be without drama, especially with Victor involved. Adam and Chelsea have been married and divorced several times. Although their relationship is tumultuous, the two always find their way back to each other. The reunited couple is currently settled into their new home with their son Connor. Things have been going well in the latest Chadam reunion. Adam's worked hard to better himself, and Chelsea is impressed with the changes. Perhaps the couple will make their reunion permanent with a wedding. Heartbroken Sally and Billy found love with each other after the Chadam affair. Sally and Billy, aka Silly, have become a cute, fun pair who mix business with pleasure. Sally's had many romances, but none of them have led to a walk down the aisle. Maybe Billy will be the one to make an honest woman out of Sally. The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Thursday, August 14th, reveal some interesting moments in Genoa City. A father and son team up while someone has a wedding request, and a character professes their love. What's set to unravel during Thursday's show? Time to find out! The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Thursday, August 14th, state that Victor Newman will recruit Nick Newman to take someone down. It sounds like Nick may go running back to his dad about the confrontation he had with Billy Abbott during the Wednesday, August 13th episode. After the heated exchange, Nick and Adam Newman concluded that Billy has aligned with Cain Ashby, even though fans know otherwise. So Billy, along with Cain, will now be on the mustache's radar. What kind of plan will Victor concoct, and how will Nick play a role in it? Fans will have to tune in to find out. Across town, Christine Blair will have a favor to ask Lauren Fenmore, and this sounds like it may be wedding-related. Cricket is officially engaged to Danny Romalotti, so there's a good chance she may ask Lauren to be her matron of honor. It sounds like some feel-good scenes between the Bug and Lauren on slated for the August 14th show, so Y&R viewers won't want to miss all the wedding fun. Speaking of Danny, The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Thursday, hint that Daniel Romalotti will confess something to his dad. It sounds like he'll admit he has more than friendly feelings toward Tessa Porter. So what kind of advice will his father give him? After all, while she is having problems with her wife, Mariah Copeland, the fact is, Tess is still a married woman. This situation is about to get stickier if Daniel's feelings continue to grow. With that said, how does Tessa feel about Daniel?